Good morning, everyone. I pray that everyone um, uh, rise up this morning in good spirits and a new mindset. A new mindset. I'll say that uh, because we've had this long for me 4-day weekend, so I got to get my mind back to going to work. Starting up today is a new work weekday for me. Just as it is for many. It's not just me. But this morning, I just wanted to share with you, uh, in hopes and in prayer, that it would be something to inspire you, to encourage you, as always, to just keep moving in life no matter what happens. And I know I often say that, but as I say it to you, I'm also saying it to myself, because we all need to be reminded of that. Periodically, we need to be reminded that we need to just keep moving and keep pushing and not allow being afraid of being scared of anything. And there's things in life that sometimes postures us to the point of being scared or afraid of taking a next step in life. And what I've come to learn is that it doesn't always look, and many of you have too, things may not be as bad as they always look sometimes. Sometimes that's just God working out the kinks in life situations. I the other day just wanted something to laugh at, to just have a chuckle about. And so I was listening on Friday to Joe Madison on Sirius XM Urban View, and his the wife of the late Dick Gregory. They're doing a bio. It should have came on this weekend on HBO, doing a documentary on his life. And so I thought about how they were discussing, his life. His wife was talking about his life, their struggles, and how they made it through with 11 children, and sometimes not having the money, but he wasn't afraid to ask someone to borrow some money when he knew it was to help his family. But when he made the money back, how he would always pay the people back. So in that, initially I thought about, many of us have been in those same shoes where life became so challenging for us. And sometimes, um, I know as myself, as a single parent, sometimes it was challenging, but you have to find yourself doing the right thing to meet that challenge, and not going out there doing something that you would regret or be shameful about. And when you need help, sometimes you had to. I put myself there as a single parent. Sometimes had to help people. I've asked people to help me, and so when I look at the fact that I was, a single parent trying to raise a daughter, you really have to make sure that you stay focused in life, bringing that child up, and who you go to get help. So I thought about that, but then in wanting to just chuckle about something, I looked online and saw one of his quotes, and I like to look at different people's quotes, not just his, but other people's quotes, that what they said in the past. Um, and he said he had went into a restaurant, and he said three cousins came in, and they was Ku Klux and Klan. And he said, and they told him as they stood there and said, uh, whatever you do to that chicken, we're gonna do to you. I'm just drawing a scenario and where I'm going this morning. He's sitting in a restaurant, and at that time, during that era, it wasn't a big welcoming for African Americans in restaurants. But needless to say, he was at the restaurant, and he said that the cousins, Ku Klux and Klan, came in, and he was eating the chicken. He had his fork and he had his knife and cutting the chicken, and they said, "Whatever you do to that chicken, we're going to do to you." So he said, "I picked up the chicken and I kissed it." So I just chuckled about it, but I also found a reality of what I'm going to be discussing this morning. Being scared and being afraid sometimes will make us react in ways that people don't see as being normal. Sometimes people will say, "You a coward for doing that. You a coward for not standing up." Sometimes people will throw those words out there. But what you're looking at is the situation that you're being faced with. That doesn't make you a coward. Just like him picking up that chicken and kissing that chicken, because in essence, I'm not going to do anything that's going to inspire someone else to be able to hurt me. And this is when, even though, again, like I said, it sounds funny, but it was really true. It really happened. But today, reading that as a person who likes to read, and yourself just maybe sometimes hearing somebody else tell that story, you'd laugh at it. But he lived it. And what that story said to me, I say story, it was a quote. What it meant to me was that by every means and any means necessary, I've got to get beyond, and we all have to get beyond being afraid. But we have to do what the moment calls for. We have to get beyond being scared. We have to do what the moment calls for. And sometimes you yourself are guilty of it, but you've already experienced it as well, what I'm about to say. Sometimes people look at you as being rude and obnoxious, or just all of those negative words that you could think of, because you handled a situation that didn't make sense in a manner that didn't make sense to them. But it made sense to you because you were doing and functioning at your best level when you made the decision of, this is what I've got to do to move past the point that I'm faced with. All of us, and we would be being dishonest if we say that we never faced a situation where we were scared, that we never faced a situation where we were afraid. But we had to make a quick decision. You didn't have time to ponder. You had to make a quick decision on how I'm going to get out of here. Especially when we were young and caught and found ourselves in wrong places, in wrong situations. In the wrong place, in the wrong situation. And coming through, if we are honest with ourselves, because we weren't always the people that we are right now. I'm saying we've matured and we've become wiser. And we know that if that situation was to happen to me again, or be or introduced to me again, I would not make that same decision. I would not make that same decision. So when he talked about the three cousins, Ku Klux and Klan, is a representation of 3 individuals who didn't agree with who he was. So today, you have people that don't agree with who you are. And I'm not talking about no racial divides or nothing. I'm just saying people today who just don't agree with the person who you are. Some people don't agree with the person you are becoming because young people are still developing into their characters and such. They don't have it all together yet because they don't have the answers. It's just like us. We're trying to find our way. When we were young, when we were teenagers and in our 20s and in our 30s, we were still trying to find our way. But those points when we were trying to find our way, and some of us, not some of us, all of us, some of those decisions that we made, you look back on them now and you say, oh my God, I did that. I made that decision, but it made sense back then. So one part of his quote, which is these 3 men, represents opposition. Opposition in our lives. You have, and I have, people who are in opposition to us. Don't matter who you are, white, black, purple, green, whatever. There's always a struggle, a tugging there with who we are and who we represent ourselves as in the front of one another, in the front of the world stage that we are on. And people don't always agree with you, and that is why it's called opposition. And then the kissing of the chicken represents the decision that you make against those who oppose you. How do we bring all of this together? Let me draw a scenario for you here. Many times, and I want to use our health as an example. Many times, and all of us can say our health situations are changing. They're changing. Some people's not as extensive as others. Some people are right there on the surface of health changes. Some people are in the middle of health changes. And then some people are at that drastic portion of it. But no matter where we're at in life, in our health, that still represents opposition. That still allows a point of being scared and afraid. Okay? So keep in mind this scenario I'm drawing here. And I'm going to bring it all together because before I get off this live this morning, we're going to understand, hopefully and prayerfully, why it's so important to not sit back and judge somebody else on a tool that they had to utilize, and yourself. Stop beating yourself up because some of the things you had to do to get out of a situation that was scary, a situation that you were afraid that I don't know if I'm going to make it out of this. And that's when you're having to make a decision of going to the doctor or not. See, sometimes when you're on the front end of that, it's something like these headaches are occurring and you don't know where they're coming from, and you find out, oh, it's from my sinuses. Okay. But that's at the front end. That's the very minimal of being faced with a health crisis, right? So you at the front end of it. But then life goes on and you get midpoint Because guess what? You're getting older. So now attached to you having those situations with your, what you found to be just issues with your sinus. Now you're facing situations attached to that. You got diabetes. See, now you're at the midpoint. So something else is going on. This is still what I'm saying, opposition, because we don't want that kind of stuff happening to our bodies. But we can't give up. We can't just sit on the sideline and not go see about ourselves, not go see that doctor, not just sit there and listen to people saying, oh, don't worry about that. That's nothing. But you have to remember, as the years in your life continues to progress and things begin to happen, you got to be the one that make that decision, that conscious decision to pay attention to your body. See, what a lot of us aren't paying attention to our bodies. We're just business as usual. Go to the doctor before this thing starts to get scary. Because as long as something, it goes untreated, it only gets worse. It don't get better just because you don't go to the doctor. But that illness is in opposition because you don't want to be sick. None of us want to be sick. None of us want to take medicine. We want to be vibrant like when we were young and in our teens and in our young 20s. But you have to realize we come to realize you're not going to be there in life always. So you have to take care of yourself now, because becoming ill is an opposition to you, because you, me, and everybody else do not like facing illness. You don't like the flu no more than you like getting a cold. But the flu becomes more drastic because it started out as just a cold. Now you're dealing with a flu. You understand what I'm saying? How things in your life, in my life, can progress over time, and it only gets worse when we ignore it. But that is, whether you want to look at it and see it that way or not, that is an opposition to you, because you don't choose to be sick. You choose to stay well. You choose to do whatever you need to do. So as we progress, as our bodies progress, let's move into this stage where first, like I said, you started out with the sinus. Then now you're dealing in the midpoint. You find out you got diabetes. Now you way over here dealing with another diagnosis, heart disease, cancer, all of these things, that lupus, myasthenia gravis, just so many illnesses out there. In the process, because I want to get to my point this morning that might not make sense to you, but I know over time, as you think about it, it will. Then you might have to hear it more than one time, because being ill is something that people really don't like to talk about. And don't see it as an opposition. As an opposition. A friend of mine who has since passed away, Sister White, she used to say to me all the time, I've lived so many years against what the doctors said. I've lived so many years. I was supposed to be gone way back then. And she used that word with me. This disease developed into 2 or 3 more diseases. And she said, you know, she used to call me Lady E all the time. And now Sister Crystal does that. But she'd say, you know what, Lady E? That's an opposition to our body. See how God can bring things back to you? That is in opposition to my body. But I refuse to be afraid. I refuse to let cancer and these other diseases take control of my life and be defined by that. I won't become that. I made a choice not to become that. But that is the enemy trying to tell me, good morning, Jackie, trying to tell me that I control your life. But I look at that. I looked at that cancer and those other diseases, because she had more than one. And I said, you will not win. But I made that decision. I told those diseases, you won't win. I can't allow you to win. I won't allow you to win. And she said, you know what, Lady E? That's how you have to look at it. Because we used to have these long conversations when she would come down here. Sometimes from when she moved back to Mississippi. We would have long conversations talking about our health. This thing gets scary sometimes. This dealing with life, dealing with health issues, dealing with people that don't understand your health, dealing with people that judge you just because, and they have no clue that sometimes what you said to them, how you responded to them, you responded to them in a moment when you were scared of something else, didn't even have anything to do with them. When you were afraid because something was happening in your life and you couldn't tell nobody at that time. You was trying to grapple with that thing yourself. You were doing that. You were trying to make sure that you was okay. You were trying to make sure that you stayed grounded. You were trying to make sure that you could get away from that thing that was you were in opposition with and still be okay. And still be okay. I'll say that again, and still be okay. Because sometimes when you are afraid, when you are scared of something, what pops in your mind is, will I be okay? And you will. When you make that decision that everybody else don't have to agree with it. Because whatever God puts in your mind at the time that he put it in your mind to survive a situation. I'm just using health on this morning because that's what he laid on my heart. Because you know why? So many people are dealing with health issues, including myself, including me. But I can't become that. You can't become that. You have to rise up out of that situation and not become that. Sometimes you got to make that decision when opposition is standing there, whether or not, let me go back to what I was talking about in Dick Gregory's quote, whether or not to kiss that chicken. Because that was the safest thing to do. Because you got to look at the era that he was in. You got to look at what his opposition looked like to him. Because he knew that he could be killed. He knew that. You understand what I'm saying? There are some situations that you know, let's go back to health, that you know if I don't do something and I don't make the right decision about this, this could take my life. My question is, why do we get so upset when we're supposed to be wiser? Because with aging, you get wiser. With aging, you got to know to make some decisions that's much more grounded than when you didn't know what you know now. You can't get so angry with other people when they make some decisions and they're younger than you. They might be 20, 30 years old. But guess what? You once were 20 and you once were 30 and you didn't make that sound decision all the time. All the time. During times when you were scared, during times when you were afraid, during times when I got to find a way to get out this situation. It's like another example, being in a step outside of the medical side of it. Let's look at relationships, toxic relationships, toxic. You, over the years, not everybody, but a lot of us have faced toxic relationships. No matter what you did, nothing never was right. No matter what you did, there was always some opposition on your thoughts. And you had to make a decision to a point where you had to make a decision. And sometimes you made that decision during a time in your mental, you were scared. You was afraid. But you made a decision to not allow people that you were in that relationship with. And I'm not just talking about boyfriend, girlfriend. I'm not talking about just husband and wife. I'm talking about sometimes toxic relationships is right there in the family. You can have a toxic parent, and that can be a mother or a father. You can have a toxic sibling. You can have a friend that's toxic. What I mean, many of you already know. They are always going to be in opposition to whatever you think, feel, or believe. They're never coming to an agreement with you. They're never making that decision to stand on that side with you of agreement. They never come to a point of compromise. It's always something to disrupt the waters. It's something always to keep that relationship imbalanced. It's something always, instead of putting out a fire, they start another fire. Y'all know about toxicity. That's when you are around toxicity, toxic people, you have got to find a way, and many of us have over the years, to remove ourselves. Toxic environments will destroy you because they're never become, or the individuals involved never reach that point of common grounds, common decision, agreeing. Because toxic relationships is always can be one person or more that want their way. But it's still opposition. It's still opposition. That picture still shows opposition. Opposition to you. Opposition to what you believe. Opposition to your thoughts. Some people are in opposition of you doing better. But you doing better can help them do better. That's what it's supposed to be. See, when I think about that on this morning, being afraid, being scared, what it says to me, we cannot allow ourselves to be defined by our fears. We just can't do it. If we make the decisions against that opposition in our health, against that opposition in relationships. Hey, it don't matter who it is. You have to find a way of getting past your fears, getting past being scared, getting past being afraid, getting past your opposition. Your opposition. Because as long as you live, as long as I live, we're going to be faced with that. Sometimes people on your jobs, you work alongside of them. Y'all do the same like work. Supposed to be doing and trying to reach the same like goal. But they're in opposition to you. They're in competition to you, with you. And they believe in their minds that you are trying to outdo them. No, we're all trying to reach the same goal. That's what we should be doing. You can even take that to social media today. You got people that's on a much larger platform than me. A platform I'll probably never reach. But I can't concern myself with that. And because they surely not worried about me. But what I can do is do the best that I can do in inspiring and encouraging others. Because God didn't give me that platform. He gave me the platform he wanted me to have. He wanted my words that come out of my mouth to reach the chosen ones that he wanted. I'm not in competition with nobody. I'm not in opposition to nobody. I don't have those platforms. That's not how God set this up for me. But God say the same thing I put in them, I put it in you. The audience I gave them their audience, and I gave you yours. And you know what? If I'm your only person in the audience, I'm still good. I'm good with that. And you should be good with that. Because I gave you the words in your mind that I laid on your heart to share with the people. I did that. You can't just get up and do what you do without me. So what I'm saying to you on this morning, before I get off of here, you don't have to compete with nobody. You don't have to be in opposition to nobody. You do utilize your gift that you have, okay? Utilize the brain that you have. Enjoy life. Celebrate your life, and all the blessings in your life. And you know what? When you start feeling scared, when you start feeling afraid, remember these things, what I'm telling you on this morning. There's that side of opposition, but there's also that side where you will make the right decision of not allowing your opposition to define you. But you're going to find a way to get past whatever it is that you're faced with. Being your health, being toxic relationships, being with your family members, in whatever relationship, husband, wife, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever. On your job, opposition is not going to leave you alone. But what you are going to do, you're going to learn how to make the best decision to get you past that. Just like Dick Gregory, that he made the best decision to get past those three men were in opposition to him sitting in that restaurant. I say that to you this morning. Do not allow. Let me say this very slow so I can be clear about it. Do not allow your opposition to define your destination in life. Will you do that for me? Will you do that for yourself? Do not allow it. Say to yourself, I will not allow the things that the circumstances in opposition to me on my job, in my household, even with myself, with my health. I won't allow myself to be marginalized. I will not allow myself to be defined. I will not allow myself to allow my opposition to define me and label me in my destination in life. And when you learn that, be sure to share that with somebody else. Because you might be thinking that person is being rude or obnoxious. That person just might be scared. That person just might be afraid of something that you don't know about. But you haven't had that conversation. That person might be facing a diagnosis that they just haven't shared with nobody. But you think they being rude. They just trying to figure out how they going to get through this thing. How they going to live another day to be with their family, their loved ones, their friends. You don't know what people really going through because people never tell you everything that they going through. Why don't we spend some time praying with people, praying for people, and asking God that whatever is going on with those individuals, even say that to yourself. Help them and help me. Help me to understand and help them to get through it. And I pray that somebody would say the same thing for me. Help Alexa to get through it. I don't even know what she's going through. I'm just praying you help her to get through it. And just like you need somebody in your life to say that for you and to you, other people need that too. So I pray this morning that what I've shared with you this morning, it strengthens you to not allow your opposition to take control over your life. Let's get out here today and make it one of our purposes in life to stop judging people, but to have conversations with people and meet them where they are in their situation. And how do you do that? Finding out a little bit about someone, not for your selfish reasons, but because you care enough about where they're going in life and you want the best thing for them. Just like God above want the best things for us in life, we got to want that for other people. And we got to pray against the oppositions in this world. I'm going to say this and then I'm going to get off of here. America, I've told many people this, America is on fire. If you see all of the division, all of the separation, all of the stereotyping, all of the chaos, just everything that's going on, America is on fire. But you know what? It don't have to remain that way. Because we can start coming together and talking to one another and finding some common ground and get through this thing together. We've been through so much with the pandemic and all other kind of stuff that's happening. The economy, just all kind of stuff. Families being separated. When you look at so many things, even things in your individual life that you've observed, America is on fire. But you know what? We can help put that fire out, one person at a time. One person at a time. Getting in the right mindset. You got to get yourself in the right mindset. And you know where you start? You start by plucking out chaos in your immediate family. You start talking about the things that people don't want to talk about. But you talk about them in such a way that you're not offending people, because you're not there to start another fire. You're there to put fires out. And when you start with the family first, then you can go out amongst the world. And you're going to be able to make a great impact. You know why? Because God will be on your side, because he don't deal with confusion at all. See, a lot of this stuff we're facing today, we're facing it because nobody wants to talk about the opposition. The opposition. And it starts with your immediate home life. Then it moves into friendships. Then it moves into the workplace. And don't forget about the health. So I just wanted to come on this morning and share that with you. You think about those things and those people in life that are in opposition to you. And then you write down how you're going to deal with that. And then if a decision needs to be made immediately, don't be afraid to do it. Don't be afraid to. Make that decision. Make sure it's a concrete decision and it's going to benefit you and everybody else that's around you. Okay? I pray you have a wonderful day today. You deserve to have a wonderful day today. And any opposition that comes up against you, make the right choice. Make the right choice. It might have to be a quick one that you didn't have time to think long about, but you're going to make a decision. And you're going to make a good decision. I believe in you, and I know you will. And I'm going to do the same thing. I want to say this morning before I get off. Please continue to pray for the people down there in Florida. They are still trying to find people in all of the rubbish and stuff down there with the building that collapsed. Pray for those families. Pray for those families. And also my niece that just graduated this year in Dickinson, the young man that was hit by a car and killed. He was one of her classmates. They were having a fundraiser and on Saturday, and anyways, I didn't find out until late about it, but I gave to her mom to give to that family, and her mom has given to the family. But look here, y'all, we got to continue to pray. This child was coming home apparently on his bike from work. That's what I was told. But that's a mother and that's a father. That's the entire family that's trying to grapple with this now. And we have to pray for them and help this family. I'm going to share that post to my page, and I believe it has a GoFundMe on there that if you wanted to give, to the family, contribute. But Saturday they did have a fundraiser as well. We don't know people's entire situation, but one thing we know that everybody can do something to help this family. And I'm just mentioning it on this morning because you know what, we never know when we or somebody that we know directly will be faced with something like that. We got to be prepared to help people however we can. And even if not monetarily, pray for people. Again, I say pray for those families in Florida. Pray for this family that had this fundraiser on Saturday, and just in other people that you might know, that you, because I tell you, the enemy is out here. He not going nowhere. And then pray for that young lady's family that hit the young man. Everybody's dealing with something. Everybody. So let's not be quick to judge. Let's be quicker to make a decision to assist however we can. Okay? So y'all have a wonderful day. I think it was raining earlier out there. It sounds like it stopped now. But y'all be safe out there as you get out today. Okay? So, talk to you later. Bye-bye.